I've already filmed this video once. The audio was completely scuffed on it, so that's great. Welcome back to Raceweek Recap, where I go through the rumours, the news, and the race from the past week. We're going to go straight into it. Valtteri Bottas is looking to end his own Mercedes career, his own F1 career, and simply move back to Finland and just do rallying for the rest of his life. In case you missed it, Valtteri Bottas tried to be quick out of a test pit stop and ultimately spun within a few meters of leaving. Somehow, in second gear, a man who drives cars professionally managed to wheel spin and almost go into the McLaren garage. It's really funny to look at now, and I found it funny at the time. But could you imagine if this man who's supposed to be competing in one of the fastest cars on that grid managed to hurt somebody or genuinely do any damage in that pit lane? This would be a totally different story, and he is so extremely lucky that his stupid mess up didn't lead to anything worse. And he got handed a free place grid penalty for it, so he may as well be writing George Russell's contract for him and stamping it and mailing it to him. Yas Marina is changing. I'm not going to pretend like I'm smart enough to really fully understand why the changes are better or what they will do. I will simply wait until I see the race and go, that was fun. Or, that was kind of bad. But on some sort of level, because you know this is supposed to be like a recap show and I'm supposed to explain stuff, they're removing the shitty chicane, they're adding a hairpin, wider. When we move into the new regulations and tighter racing and that circuit's supposed to be actually good, maybe Abu Dhabi could become a good season ender where we're actually excited for like what's going to happen at this one shitty racetrack. Will it actually though? I don't know. I want to be wrong in saying that I don't think it will really change a whole lot and that the track is kind of just destined to be boring. But hey, what do I know? Silverstone will be at full capacity, and this guy decided not to buy any tickets because he thought it would not be at full capacity, and now they're really, really expensive if you do want to go, and I just don't have that kind of money. I would rather just wait till next year and hopefully we do get to go. Obviously this is great news, and I'm really happy that we're going to actually genuinely get to see some fans there, possibly a Lando Norris podium in front of his home crowd. Maybe he'll want to perform. Lewis Hamilton fighting for the championship against Max, and there's going to be a full capacity crowd watching that happen. I'm jealous, and I'm happy that the end is near. We're finally seeing a point where it's like this could work and things could go back to normal, and hopefully Silverstone as a tester event shows other circuits and better off countries from the pandemic situation that it can work. Inspector Seb was on the scene for Mick Schumacher's seat. Apparently Mick has been sitting awkwardly in his seat for the whole season and has just never mentioned it to anybody. Seb came and had a look, said maybe just break it. It's the quickest way for them to fix it. Break it. But what I found most funny is that Gunter Steiner didn't even get to hear about this from Mick himself. The man who's 22 years old told his mum, and his mum told Gunther Steiner. And to be fair, who am I to judge? I could probably relate. I don't want to tell my boss when anything is wrong. I'll simply deal with the stress and crumble under the pressure. If I was driving a car 200 miles an hour for nearly 2 hours, I would probably want to be comfortable though. It's as comfortable as you can be. Sitting at a slant just doesn't sound very comfortable. Sochi is leaving. 2023 will see the end of it and the introduction of the Autodrome Agora Drive. That's probably not how you say that, but that is. The onboard looks kind of good. We obviously won't know until Formula 1 races there, and especially the new regulations. Maybe this track will just suck. Maybe it'll be great, but as a sporting nation, Russia should be providing us with a better track, and hopefully this is it. In a really bizarre decision by the FIA, they're trying to slow down pit stops. From Hungary onwards, Formula 1 will be slowing pit stops. One of the spectacles of the sport that literally every time anybody who doesn't watch Formula 1 watches it with me goes, it is so crazy how they do that. That is the coolest thing about it. Nobody's been hurt from a fast pit stop anyway. If anything, it's about pushing the boundaries of the sport and really trying to do the most. And I just don't see the point in why they're trying to do this. It just seems counterintuitive and honestly will just cause more problems, and seems like a decision that will be reversed eventually. But hey, pit stops, they're the problem, right? Not Charles Leclerc being a constant reckless driver, driving with no seatbelt, not calling the safety car immediately in situations that desperately need one, not calling a red flag immediately when it's completely necessary. Just all this hesitancy around literally all the important stuff. But no, pit stops, too fast. Let's go into the race. Austria is my favourite track, but I don't think anybody was really prepared to be saying, let's go back to France, let's go back to Paul Ricard. It was kind of boring. Nothing really happened of any significance. My man Pierre Gasly was put out in the first lap from an aforementioned reckless Charles Leclerc. Max and that car are just on another planet. Lewis was just not able to compete with it today. Bottas was fine, even with his penalty, finished on the podiums. Almost got snipped by Checo right at the end though. And Checo pitted for the new tyres in that time. So, you know, as good as it can be. Somehow Charles Leclerc got driver of the day when his teammate literally went from 12th to 6th, when Charles went from 7th to 7th. It was his mess up that made it so he had to do the comeback up there. And honestly, I think he only really got it because the race was so boring that the race director just kept showing the same overtake basically on the cars that Charles was doing each lap. Wasn't entertaining or wasn't really all that impressive. Unfortunate about George Russell. Everyone thought he was going to drop back as soon as the race started. He started well, ended up at 8th. And he was in the train and there was all these cars and he was here. He wasn't the one at the front leading the train because he was so slow. It was Alonso. And inevitably the Williams curse struck and he had to retire from the race from hydraulic issues, I believe. What can you do? Like, this man just can't, no matter what he does, he just can't get the points. Daniel Ricciardo is having so many issues at McLaren that, again, this is looking like a Sebastian Vettel at Ferrari last year. It can't be all him. Especially today when you see Daniel go 4 places up right on the start and drop all the way back because of power issues. That's not his fault, and I just think that McLaren really aren't providing him with a car that works. Obviously it works for Lando, and I also think that he's maybe dragging a little bit more out of it than the car maybe can do at times. But Daniel doesn't have this steep a decline in him. So what's going on here? Zach Brown, sort it out from me to you, please. I quite like Daniel. Like to see him do well. I can't think of anything else that happened in this race. I didn't make any notes on it because it was quite boring. This has been my race week recap. All the rumours, news, all that jazz. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe because it really does help. Comment below your opinions on everything that's happened this week. Thank you.